Hi, listeners. It's Becca and Brooke with the College Admissions Insider podcast. We're here to remind you of Bucknell's application deadlines for this year.
For incoming first-year students, our Early Decision 1 deadline is November 1st. And for Early Decision 2 and Regular Decision applicants, our deadline is January 10th. We can't wait to meet you through your application.
Spring is officially here, and with it, those long-awaited responses from college admissions.
You may think there's only two options: congrats, you're in, or we regret to inform you. But plenty of students will receive a third message, offering them a spot on the waitlist.
For a deep dive on waitlists and how it works at Bucknell, you can check out episode 65 of College Admissions Insider. But in this minisode, we'll recap the most important tips for navigating that outcome.
So, Becca, I imagine being waitlisted can be disappointing, especially if it's a top school on a student's list. So let's spend this time speaking to those who might be in that position. First and foremost, they should know that being waitlisted isn't any kind of rejection. It simply means that the admissions process was competitive, and the school would like to have that student join the class if space becomes available, right?
Exactly. Colleges and universities are trying to hit their enrollment target as closely as possible by that May 1st deposit deadline. And one of the ways that schools do that is by strategically using their waitlist so that if they're getting close to that May 1st deadline, they might invite some students to join. Or sometimes in some years, schools won't need to use their waitlist at all, depending on how their enrollment is looking.
And so if a student receives that message that they have the option to join the waitlist at one of their top schools, how do they accept?
Most colleges and universities will offer students specific instructions if they're placed on a waitlist. And often those instructions include how to communicate with a university that you are still interested. Some students might receive that waitlist decision and have already decided to enroll elsewhere. They might choose to withdraw their application altogether, while other students will elect to remain on a waitlist, often by filling out some kind of form or formal communication.
Okay, who should they ask if they have questions?
If you receive a waitlist decision from any university and the instructions aren't clear, you can always reach out to your admissions counselor with any questions. And we'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit about how to engage, when to engage, what to say, and how to best position yourself for a waitlist offer.
In the meantime, I'd like to zoom in on navigating the waitlist specifically. We know from a previous episode we did on this topic that waitlists aren't necessarily ranked, so students aren't competing with each other to get in. But that's not to say certain students could be a better fit for the incoming class based on things like intended major. After all, colleges only have a certain number of spots for every program. Could switching your intended major at this point to a second choice have an impact on admissibility?
It certainly could. At a school like Bucknell, where we admit both by college and by a student's intended major or program, we are looking to fill a certain number of seats in a certain number of programs. On an application at Bucknell, we ask students to list a first and second choice college or program that they'd like to be admitted into. And so one thing we'll ask students to do when they confirm that they want to remain on our waitlist is we'll ask them to review their first and second choice major that they listed on their application and that is still accurate and correct. Sometimes a student submitted that application all the way back in August and September, and maybe their mind has changed since then. Maybe they're open to opportunities in different colleges or different programs, or maybe they've refined their interests a little bit. Or perhaps they didn't list a second choice major at all, and they would like to do so to broaden their waitlist opportunities that they might be considered for.
So intended major is one of those things that an admissions office will automatically ask a student if they're accepting a waitlist offer. Is there anything else that waitlisted students should be communicating with colleges about? New accomplishments, test scores, or even a reiteration of their desire to attend?
Definitely. Another consideration is a student's need for financial aid or merit scholarships and that consideration. And so some students may have listed on their application that they're seeking financial aid, but maybe they didn't complete their FAFSA or, in a case like Bucknell, their CSS profile. Or on the flip side, maybe a student indicated that they're not seeking aid, but now they are going to be seeking aid and need to submit those documents. Students are going to want to log into their application portal, carefully check their checklists, both for their admissions materials and for their financial aid materials, to make sure that they're up to date and accurately reflect what a student is looking for. As far as new accomplishments, test scores, or grades, those are great things to send too, especially updated mid-year senior grades. At the time of a student's application, we may not have had senior grades at all, or maybe we only had the first quarter of your senior year. Updated grades will tell us how you're performing in your senior year, especially in some of those challenging courses, and will help us understand your academic readiness for a school like Bucknell. And then if you want to reach out just to get in touch, your admissions counselor would certainly love to hear from you. So whether that's just to check in, to reiterate that you're still interested, even if you've completed that form and checked your checklist, it's never a bad idea to get in touch and to put your name in your admissions counselor's inbox so that when we have an opportunity to advocate for students or to do some waitlist work, your name might be at the top of that list.
You mentioned earlier that some students might decide to enroll elsewhere, even if they've received a spot on the waitlist at another school. So let's talk a little bit about that plan B. I know I wouldn't be thrilled to commit to a school lower on my list while I wait for an answer from my top choice. But should students move toward a second option to ensure they'll be able to enroll somewhere come May 1? What advice do you have for choosing a backup?
Yeah, ultimately, we want to make sure that students are feeling secure in their college plans for where they're headed after graduation. Choosing to enroll at a school means that you can attend their admitted student day programs and fully celebrate. You can buy a t-shirt from the bookstore. You can start to really envision yourself at that school in the fall. And so there's a lot of great things that come from moving forward and committing to a college or university. Doing that while also on the wait list means that you might get a call from that first choice school or that waitlist school that offers you an opportunity to join later, even if you've already gotten the t-shirt for the institution that you plan to enroll to. Students should absolutely be prepared with a plan B, but ultimately they should know how flexible they're willing to be about waiting for their first choice school. At some point, you'll have a decision whether you'd like to deposit elsewhere, commit to a university, buy the t-shirt, and be all in on that school that you want to attend in the fall, whereas some students might be more willing to pivot at the last minute, even if that waitlist offer doesn't come until after May 1st, June, July, or even August. It's also really important that the family is on the same page when navigating a waitlist decision. Maybe there's a scenario where a student wants to hold out hope a little while longer and wait for that waitlist call, where their parents or family members might be eager to finalize the process and finalize the decision. Ideally, if the family can come to an agreement on what their timeline is, how flexible they're willing to be, how long they're willing to wait before receiving that potential waitlist offer, that's going to set you up for the most success as you navigate this process.
If a student hasn't been offered a spot in the incoming class off the waitlist, will they know that as well?
Yes. So colleges and universities will eventually close their waitlist at some point. Some might close their waitlist right on May 1 if they hit their enrollment targets. Others may close their waitlist as soon as that university is feeling comfortable with their incoming first-year class. And universities will let students on the waitlist know when the waitlist has closed and when they can expect to no longer be hearing an offer from that institution.
Well, let's say the best happens and a student comes off the waitlist at their preferred school. Any considerations before officially accepting admission?
Like I said before, being on the same page with your family is certainly helpful so that you can have some strategy around being prepared to receive that potential call. Students who receive a waitlist offer often might want to double check about finances, merit scholarships, or financial aid opportunities. Some students, if they haven't visited campus before, or if they haven't visited campus in quite some time, they might want to plan to come onto campus to see it one last time before committing to that institution. Whereas some students and their families are ready to accept that offer on the spot. They are excited and eager to make that commitment and ready to say yes to their waitlist school.
I think this has been a great overview of the really important things to consider when navigating the waitlist. As we said at the top of this episode, we have an even deeper dive in episode 65 of College Admissions Insider, where we go over what waitlists are, how they work, and nuances of the process here at Bucknell. So head over there for more details. For everyone listening to this episode, thanks. If you're a fan of the podcast, please take a moment to rate, subscribe, and share this episode with the families in your life.
We'll be back with another new episode in a few weeks. In the meantime, you can send your questions, comments, and episode ideas to podcast@bucknell.edu. We read every note you send.
And finally, you're invited to follow Bucknell on your favorite social media apps. Just look for @BucknellU on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also follow our student-run Instagram account, which is @IamRayBucknell.
Until next time, keep reaching for your dreams and your dream school.